I hope that you're all well. I miss you all lots and lots, and I've loved having emails from several of you today and just hearing all the different things that you're up to. And keep in touch, keep sending me emails. It's so good to hear from you. Some of you have asked about our book, so I thought I would read you some of it now. I luckily grabbed it from school just before I left so that we can keep up and see what was happening. For those of you that missed school in the last week, basically the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang landed on what was a big boat. They didn't know it was a big boat at the time. They thought they were in Egypt, but actually the boat was made to look like Egypt. And the mum and dad were sent out to enjoy themselves for the night while the kids stayed on the boat with Nanny. And Nanny was looking after them, but it turns out Nanny was actually a bad person. And Nanny and Tiny Jack have kidnapped the children and sent the parents away. And they had actually taken apart Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and he was in loads and loads of pieces. And Jem got busy trying to put him back together. So that's where we're up to. And let's read a little bit more. "We don't need to worry about Nanny or Tiny Jack," said Jem, "'cause look!" There was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, completely back in one piece. Jem had even hung the little silver airplane from the rear-view mirror as an ornament. Lucy pulled open the garage door and jumped into the little van with little Harry. Jem turned the crank handle. Nothing happened. Not a cough, not a sneeze. "You've put her together wrong. You've left the batteries out or something." "No, I don't think so." "Then why won't it start, stupid car?" "Chitty is not stupid. If she doesn't start, there must be a reason. I just need to think." "Nanny's coming now. She'll be here any minute. I need time to think." "Okay," said Lucy. "Listen, me and little Harry will go and distract her." "Distract her? How can you distract a woman who—" They were already gone. Lucy and little Harry watched from behind a palm tree as Nanny strolled over to the swimming pool. They saw her lift her red sunglasses and stare into the water with her little spidery eyes. "Fishies," she cooed. "Anybody feed you today?" Cautiously she put her fingers into the water. Straight away the water boiled as frenzied fish thrashed up around her. She pulled her hand out and held it up. Blood was spurting from it like a red-taloned fingertip. "Yuck!" said little Harry. The really surprising thing was that Nanny didn't seem to mind. She didn't yelp or even try to bandage it. She just carried on chatting to the fish while the blood dripped around the pool. "You haven't been fed, have you? You haven't eaten even one little child." "Good, that's good, because Tiny Jack wants those children alive." Lucy picked up little Harry and strolled out of the cover of the palm trees with a big smile on her face. "Did you find Tiny Jack?" "Oh dear, what's happened to your finger?" "Oh, there you are. What are you doing, and where is your brother?" "We were wondering, Nanny, if Tiny Jack would like to play a game today." "Oh, I think he definitely would," said Nanny. "How about snakes and ladders?" Remembering the board with the real snakes, Lucy shook her head. "Can't," she said. "Little Harry's allergic." "What about you? What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Do you know that one? It's one of Tiny Jack's favourites." As she said this, Lucy heard quite distinctly the lonesome howl of a hungry timber wolf from somewhere on the lower deck. "Does What's the time, Mr. Wolf, involve real wolves?" she asked. "So much more fun that way," said Nanny. Lucy had to think of a way of distracting Nanny that didn't involve being eaten alive. "I've got a better idea," she said, desperately trying to think of a game that Tiny Jack might want to play. "What's that?" "It's called Hot and Cold. Jem goes and hides something, and you and Tiny Jack have to find it. As you go looking, you're allowed to ask if you're getting hotter or colder." Nanny didn't seem convinced. "What is Jem going to hide?" That was Lucy's stroke of genius. She said, "Oh, nothing special. A thing that fell off our van. I think it's called lightning." "We may not know what it is," thought Lucy, "but we know you want it." Nanny looked as if an electric current had shot through her. Although she tried to speak calmly, her whole body seemed to light up with excitement. Well, that sounds like a nice idea, she said, flashing Lucy a mega kilowatt smile. I'll just call Tiny Jack on his mobile and tell him to get down here. No, said Lucy. He's not to move yet. You've got to close your eyes and count to 100. Tiny Jack's got to do the same. If you peek, we can't play. We'll just throw the lightning over the side. That's the rules. Oh, don't do that. I'll call him and tell him. She called Tiny Jack on her Jelly Baby phone. Make sure his eyes are closed, said Lucy. We'll come and check. Make sure your eyes are closed. She'll check. She means it, said Nanny. After she explained the game to Tiny Jack, then she covered her own red sunglasses with her long red nailed fingers and started to count. Lucy and little Harry ran back to the house. If things went to plan, Nanny and Tiny Jack would still be searching while the children made their getaway. As Lucy passed a big doorway, she heard a voice quietly muttering, 36, 37, 38. She stopped. She listened. Tiny Jack was behind that big walnut door. Lucy was suddenly overwhelmed by the desire to see what he looked like. All she had to do was stick her head around her door. She tiptoed closer and peeked inside. 41, 42. There was no one there, but she could hear Tiny Jack's voice from behind a second door. Should she walk in and look behind that too? She shushed little Harry and took a step forward. Then she froze. There was something in the outer room, a chair, a massive chair, the biggest chair Lucy had ever seen, a chair whose seat was the size of a double bed, whose legs were 12 feet high. Mounted on the wall opposite the chair was a plasma screen with a webcam. Why would anyone need a chair this big? And why would you put a camera facing it? Lucy realized in a flash, if you sat in a chair this big and had your photographs taken or filmed yourself, the chair would make you look tiny, even if you weren't. Even if you were actually the size of a man, or bigger. In the photographs, Tiny Jack's feet came almost to the end of the cushion and his shoulders almost up to the armrests. Tiny Jack must be absolutely huge. 78, 79, came the voice from behind the door. Lucy stared at the door in terror. In 21 seconds' time, this giant would come looking for her. With his armies of wolves and snakes. She picked up little Harry, but before she left, she saw one really useful thing, the other piece of the baby monitor plugged into the wall. She grabbed it and ran out of the house. On her way, she stopped to plug the speaker end of the monitor into the wall socket behind a cupboard. She took the listening end away with her. While Lucy was organising her genius distraction up on deck, Jem was doing his genius car maintenance in the garage. He began by thinking the situation through. And we'll stop there for today. Sorry about all my emails coming in, but I guess it's you lot getting in touch, which is nice, so I shall go and read those. See you soon. Bye.